Oh, we're on. Hey, good evening and welcome to my little show. I don't know how many people are going to come on tonight, but I'll just do the thing at the beginning where I say that if you're joining me from either Facebook or YouTube, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. If you're catching this up on replay, not quite sure how it's going to go, so thanks very much for coming on and just having a look at me. And the one thing I will say for YouTube, this is just adjusting this tie there, a bit of a tart, aren't I, that I need to look correct. If anybody sort of sends any links and we get any spammers on the Facebook ones, just ignore, block, ban and delete, because I'm actually streaming from StreamYard, so I'll not always see all of those comments. So if you could just do me the favour there of getting rid, if you get anything like that. I don't send out any links or out daft like that. You know, I don't ask for money or anything. This is all done on my own behalf. And the reason I've come back on again is to push myself. I want to build this channel. I want to sort of showcase my skills, and I want to build a client base. And to be honest, I love connecting with people. So there's been a lot going on in my mindset and behind the scenes and things like that, and it sort of culminated in today of pushing myself out there and cracking on and doing it. So bit of coaching, bit of a chat, things like that, and then I will get through cards and messages and things like that. So I've just come off a reading for a client, so very grateful for that as well. And I've been on a course for the last sort of 2 or 3 weeks. It's a free course, and it's all about your mindset and business and coaching and things like that. And I thought, yeah, it's been a bit of a strange one emotionally as well. I'm dealing with a back injury and things like that, and dealing with mindset issues. So it's been how much you portion your life's energies to. And it's been really, really quiet. And then you could look at it in a negative side of going, oh, my God, it's really, really quiet. The business is failing. It's not working out for me. And then you realise, well, I'm in a fortuitous position. I'm not facing eviction. I'm not going to be thrown out for anything. I'm being given the time and the space to do the healing that I need to do. So I'm really in that grateful space. So I'm just looking at how I can build on from that. Right, let me just start going through some of these. So again, welcome. Thanks for coming on. Would love a reading if you have any ancestors that would love to give me some messages. Right, so it's going to be tarot. Don't always talk about bringing mediumship in, because I explain this all the time. Mediumship can represent an energy form that's coming in, that's delivering a message. Psychic delivers from the perspective of having the energy that's around you, and the cards are the tools to do it. Right, bit of an experiment for you, Tarns and Rowan, and there, because I was very much drawn. I paid a lot of money for these cards, by the way, and I'm not quite sure why, because it still hasn't become apparent. But these are the Fallen Angel deck, and they've got single word oracle cards on there. So what I'll do is I'll have a shuffle around there. Remember, these are general readings. They're not specific. I don't do relationship or illness or anything like that. I just bring in what may well be going on around you, and it's for you to interpret. I'll interpret it the best that I can, and then just generalize with that message and move on. So I don't know what I need to call you, but I'll just keep saying Tarns and Rowan. But if you just work with me with that, with the energy, I've got a gentleman's energy around me. And rather than saying it's an ancestor or anything like that, I really feel like it's a guide, or what I would call a guard, or somebody there that's just being brought in to give you some upliftment at this moment in time. The image that I've got in my head is I'm sort of stood there like this, weighing something up. So what I feel that Spirit are bringing in for you at the moment is we need to be a little bit more direct, a little bit more bolder in what choices that we are facing at the moment. If it's for your greater good, then carry on doing it. But sort of really put your best foot forward, as my granddad used to say, putting your best foot forward, or step away from whatever it is that you're, in my terms, dithering over, and make other decisions. Right, so cards wise, yeah. So we've got the Four of Swords for you, And the four of swords is rest and recovery after a period of strain. Swords are about the mind, the intellect, how you think and how you process. So when I look at this, this is like having respite from what the mind chat has been. Maybe it's just time to have a bit of a rest, but also take a couple of steps back to just assess what's going on around you currently. And so my sense is energetically around you is it's time to make some bolder decisions. So that may well mean getting rid of some parts or some decisions and moving on forward in a different direction. But my feeling is when I look at this card there as well is that I've now got the Five of Wands in there, and anything to do with fives for me is kind of like we haven't got the full pieces, we haven't got the full picture, we haven't got the full idea. Bickering, backbiting, people in the background there that are, they might find it humorous to mess about and things like that. But the sense is that you need some help, some assistance, some structure going forward. But you're going to have to do the majority of the work on your own, because when I look at this, red is all to do with the root and your foundations. So this is about structuring something going forward here, maybe structuring some other people's how they look at things as well, structuring their expectations is just going, right, I'm going to focus on me for a while going forward because I've got something to build. So I'm not going to get a great deal of cooperation when I've got this card in there. And there's a feeling there that there's some energy around you that's maybe not got your best interest at heart. So it's not causing any major upheaval, but it's when you expect help and you expect structure, they're not the person that's going to go to. So trust your instinct on wherever that one is. And these new cards where I'm looking at is this card says danger. And I don't do any darkness or negativity, so I don't do predictions. But my sense is there when there's the danger is, I'm trying to think what the saying was now on the internet. So FOMO, that was it. FOMO's just gone through my head. Fear of missing out. So there's something there where we need to get ourselves organised, a decision that we need to make. So there's that fear of missing out aspect of it. So this is where my feeling is that we need to take some direct action. Be honest, blunt and direct, and tell people exactly where they stand. Okay, so I hope that made sense for you. Hi, Joy Earls. Hope you're well. Thanks very much. Really appreciate that comment. Thank you very much. Hi, Patricia. Long time no speak. Welcome back. Thanks very much. I say I did a thing on here yesterday about how the mind influences and the pink hippo. And if anybody's had a reading with me around some of the shows, it's a story I tell quite often about changing the neural pathways in the brain and working towards a different conclusion to what you're currently thinking. And there's a process. If you look at the video, it'll explain it all, because it's just another one of those things from my neuro spicy brain there. So a bit of a strange one there, but I put it on, and this was what makes me smile. So all of the encouragement that I've had from the coursework that I've been doing is get on there, get some content put out there. I don't have any problem speaking on camera, but what I've had a difficulty with is this belief, this mindset that I've got this ADHD neurospicy brain going on. And I'm just not motivated enough to come and put the content out on there because there's nobody watching it. And the thing is with this, and this is what I realised, you've got to have patience and consistently put stuff out there so that people can watch, and you've got to grow that base, and then things will be built on top of that. But in my head, it's like, take it, and I've got other things on my mind that need to take more of my focus. But it's been a bit of a balancing act for me, and it's almost like relearning what my character is capable of as well. So there's certain aspects of me that I can just switch into gear when I come onto camera and do the waistcoat man. But there's other things where I want to build the counselling, the coaching, the guidance sort of thing from the ground up, from the perspective of my experiences. And I'm having to do a lot of what I call the mind treacle work at the moment, where we've got to find out if there's any blockages, because it's no good coming to a person blocked to help somebody with their blockages. So it's a fine juggling act at the moment. So I'm doing my best, let me put it that way. All right, there we go. Just show that again. That's it. Any chance of a card reading now, as I'm going through a bad patch with my health just now. Well, Pearl, thanks very much for tuning in. Can't talk about health, and I wouldn't want to anyway, because I'm a bald-headed psychic, not a doctor. So this will be generalized reading going out there. My feeling is, and the energies that's just gone through me, and I hope this makes a bit of sense, is I'm starting to cough. And now for me, the coughing around the throat chakra and that energy center there that is all about communication needs clearing. So there's something there that feels like an emotional blockage between the heart and the throat. So I'm not talking about any medical diagnosis or anything like that. Is there something there from either the past or the current moment that you need to get off your chest, need to sort? Because there's a feeling of sadness from it. And as I work with your energy and work in that energy, it's like it comes up. And it comes up, and you get the courage, you get the confidence to say what you need to say. And then all of a sudden, it has to be compressed back down again. And the cough is coming in because I need to I need to communicate. And I'm not finding that way to accurately communicate. So my sense is with you that there's something there that needs investigating, something that needs looking at. I am picking up headaches around you, which, again, symptomatic of stress and not being your true self at the moment. Right. Let me see what we've got for you in the cards. There's 3 falling out for you, Pearl. So we've got the star, which talks about healing, talks about reconciliation with things. So if you've had a bit of a rough time emotionally, now this is what I say to people. When we're looking for reconciliation can mean things coming back together, but also reconciliation can be sort of looking at the facts as they are when we've had a bit of a run-in with somebody or a bust-up or something like that, and just coming to terms. And I'm not saying accepting it or anything like that, but coming to terms with the situation as it is. So sometimes there's been people in my life that has caused me tremendous upset, but it's going to serve me no purpose or any good. Keep going and lamenting over it or going backwards and forwards over who said what to who. So at some point, I have to put myself in that frame where I'm going, this is upsetting, but how long am I going to give it? So anybody who's ever watched me before, I always talk about if I can't solve it or I can't learn a lesson from it, I chuck it in the fuck it bucket and move on. So there's a sense of something there with a star of coming now into steadier emotional times there. So the star is about healing. It's also a good confidence card as well, because when I look at that card, I always think about lighting up a pathway or something, illuminating something new coming in for me. So it's a good one to follow your feelings, follow the light from the star, and walk towards new beginnings with confidence. You've got the Emperor card there, and the Emperor card for me is all about stability and efficiency and getting things in order. A male-dominated energy with it as well, because what we're talking about there is that sort of more direct, that bold action. So when we're communicating, this is what I expect, this is what I want, this is what I delegate to you. So there's a sense with you that maybe you've got to, again, like I said in that last reading, put your best foot forward and say what you need to say, because there's a feeling that you're keeping quiet on something. So maybe there's something or somebody that you've got to challenge and get it out of your system. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense, because we've got the other card that's coming in there, which is the Knight of Pentacles. Now, the Knight of Pentacles is all about money, finances, riches, enrichment, and what's known as non-material wealth. It's the only card in my tarot deck in the suit of the Knights what talks about work that's being done, because Knights are traditionally about taking action. Anything to do with Pentacles is about patience, because Pentacles are fairly slow moving. So if you're looking at new jobs, new businesses, new ideas, or new ways that you're going to generate money, or where you're going to put your time and investment in, this talks about having a solid solid foundation, a solid structure. Sorry, tripping over my words there. So solid foundations. And I just want to give you a gentleman's energy in the spirit world there, because I was tripping over my words. And if you can take somebody that either passed from either Alzheimer's or dementia or had the stroke condition, because that's what I tend to get, is flustered around my words when I'm talking to somebody, and then I get this sort of tap on the back of my head. So you have got somebody there in supporting you in he's got a good sense of humor that is supporting you from the spirit world. My sense is what he's just said to me is for what use he is. but he's going to come in there and do his best to give you some upliftment and send you some healing through. So back to the Knight of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles, as I say, is about investing your time and your energy and your money in something that will come into fruition once you've got the groundwork done. So rather than taking direct action, for me, this is like little and often to get this structure, get this thing off the ground. So good luck with that. Hi, Samantha, hope you well. I think I need structure. My thing is always about discipline. So I get my granddad through a lot, and my granddad was a sergeant major in the army. So we always look at that sort of disciplinarian aspect of things that service people had. So when he comes in, it's usually a case of sort of shoulders back, chest forward, and we're looking the world in the eye. So when his energy is kicking about, it's usually about getting people to snap to attention, which means getting yourself in order. So there's maybe an element of that coming in as well. Thank you so much. Done a great job. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. That was lovely. Thank you. Yeah, and the thing is, right, I appreciate that. And I'll explain this, why I've come to this conclusion. It's nothing to do with the comments. I'm grateful for anybody that comes on. When I first started with all of this, I'd come out of the prison service after 12 years, and I was looking for something. I'd got no idea what I was looking for, but we ended up down at our local church. Now, I'm not religious, and I don't pull anybody to pieces that is religious or anything like that. It's not the point of my story. But what I found when I went into this place was there was like-minded people. Right? So it was a community centre that doubled as a place of service. So you'd go in there and there'd be people that did mediumship, and there would be people that run the committee. I basically went in there because what I found that I needed in my life was peace. Wasn't very well attended, wasn't very well utilised towards the end. So there was a lot of people that sort of went missing. And what they always used to say is the people that are meant to be in that spot will always turn up. So that's how I utilise this. I was driven, I was guided towards putting on a live presentation tonight, and I've shown up. Right? Spirit are non-coercive and non-judgmental, so in that sense, they're never going to tell you what to do, but there's a strong leaning in that what I'm meant to do. So to answer that directly, that's where I always come from. I've got one person that supports me. If I've reached one person, I did a demonstration in Newcastle once, and there was only one person sat there in the beginning because somebody was doing some drumming somewhere else. But towards the end of my demonstration, there was 30, 40 people in there. But the point is for that 30 minutes that I'd got that one person, that is where my energy was directed to, because that is what I believe I was put there for in that moment. So I don't get too upset about anything like that. Thank you for that. That's lovely of you. What South? Oh, right. Thank you. The thing is with me, whenever I work, I don't change whether I'm on screen, whether you meet me live, whether it's on that night, which was fantastic, by the way. I tell the truth. Now, I always see myself personally like Marmite. Like some people will think, oh my God, he's too honest or he's too gobby or anything like that. And I've realised today that I've put too much emphasis on that I've worried about whether I come across in the right way, whether I speak in the right way. And I've realised that today, just doing this course, is that you start to put restrictions on yourself. Right. Now, the thing is, people pay their money to come to events, shows, have readings or anything like that. And they're entitled to give their opinion. Right. But I'm not going to change to suit somebody else's narrative. And this is what I'm going to get out of the habit of doing. I will come on and I will present what I do because Spirit of trust entrusted me, get the words right, entrusted me to help people. I know in my heart of hearts that what my vibration lines up with is helping people. What I don't know is how to increase the client list, the building up of everything around it, because I'm not an expert in it. I'm not really that tech savvy, but I'm willing to learn. So I show up when I say that I show up. and I do the best that I can. This neuro spicy brain, which I keep talking about, has had a huge effect on me. And it's not about that I'm suddenly all of a sudden want to jump on this bandwagon. How it's deeply affected me is the realization that I've been like this all of my life, just not aware of it. And it's like suddenly somebody says to you that there's something there about you. So imagine that you've had a big spot on the end of your nose, but you've just seen it as normal, right? It's not really bothered you. And then all of a sudden you become aware of what everybody else is seeing around you. And it's like, oh shit, it becomes the focus. And what you focus on, we get more information about. We draw that energy closer towards us. So what's happened with me is all of this, the stuff that I'm feeling at the moment, there's so many examples and so many clues where if I'd have known different, then I could have maybe taken different paths with things. But this is all part of the learning curve of life. This is all about that. So what I was advised to do is, by people that know, is to go through that grieving process of the things that I didn't understand then and the decisions that I didn't make then. Is right, okay, treat them as the painful experience that there was. Take your time to process through what I call the mind treacle, and then move on, because life is perpetually moving forward. So it's always done that. It's always done that with me. I tend to learn lessons really slowly. So yes, if you're on YouTube, guys, if you won't mind it in the thumbs up, because it does help the algorithm, which I'm led to believe helps me get discovered a little bit. So I appreciate that. Thank you. As you might know, I love doing my art, but with waiting for hospital appointments when people doing my head in, I'm finding, I understand completely. Now I'm quite, I don't want to offend people with the wrong terminology. So please, somebody out there, don't take this personally. This is my viewpoint of me. I'm a flip-flop. And what I mean by that is I flip-flop from different energies. So some mornings I can get up and I can get up in a great mood and I can take on the world. And I can be very constructive and even make allowances for this sort of wayward way of thinking and nail myself down to something, get hyper-focused and get lots done. Other days when I get up, I can be a complete dick to myself, to other people's energy and things around that. But I've got into that mindset of just going, but I'm showing up. You'll never catch me like laid down with anything and just going, oh, I'm not turning up, because I'll show up, faults, flaws and all. You know, you get that part of me, because I found it tiring trying to fit into other people's what I think they expect of me. And I found it exhausting, because what I've realized over these last 18 months since my dad passed away is that I don't know who I truly am. So I've played a role that many times to fit in with what people expect from me, because I'm a little bit mad at times and a little bit dodgy, and like, it was out of an old sketch show in the 90s, a little bit way, a little bit whoa, a little bit dodgy. What that means is basically that my moods can swing up and down. So when I get flat and things like that, I'm looking around of who I can talk to. Well, I'm very, very lucky in the fact that I've manufactured this life where I'm not working in the conventional sense. So that gives me a lot of time to think. And this is where you have to be careful with your mindset, because if you've got a gap, your conscious thinking mind is going to fill it. And you've got to be very careful what you fill it with, because if your moods are a little bit up and down, if you're in that sort of energy frequency of like, oh, God, I'm in a bad mood today, then your mindset is going to be filled up with bad mood and crappy sort of things. And then that'll pull your mood down further. So what I've become very much aware of now is, right, looking in and just going, right, what is the bad moods caused by? Is it something atmospheric? If it's something atmospheric, this normally sorts it out. Have a brew, have a few minutes to myself, calm myself down, and then crack on and do whatever it is that I need to do. If it's got some structure to it, why I'm feeling flat, I start to break it down and go, like, so for instance, you need all of the energy that you can get to do your to go through the hospital appointments, and because there's an element of stress with all of them, because if we go into that with a mindset of there might be something wrong, or we're waiting for a procedure, or we're waiting for medication checks and this, that and the other, and sat there in that energy, we're kind of like, ugh, and that's stressful. Now, there's a reason for that. So that's not atmospheric. There's a reason for that. So you have to send all of your best healing energies towards that and just go, I've just got to achieve the best that I can with the energy that I've got today. So there's nothing to beat yourself up over. If other people are doing your head in, right, that is all down to your response to the stimulus that they're giving you, right? It's not them. They're there to teach you something. And this is one of the concepts that I've struggled to deal with the most, right? I'm ready. I am waiting for that next thing to come in for me, that next job, that next spiritual adventure. Right, I'm ready. Where is it? Well, you need to have patience. But I've never had patience before because I'm nearly 53 and I struggle with patience. I get irritated. So somebody will come up and just go, yeah, but that's life, isn't it? They'll turn you a card over or something like that and go, yeah, you just need patience. But I'm telling you, you're not listening. I haven't got any patience. So we're kind of like going round the roundabout here. This is non-productive. And then once you start to click on that's the lesson. So if somebody is like with me in particular, it's like learning to flow more with life and not controlling it. Because if things are out of your control, then you've got to have patience. Got to, command word, until you've got your hand on the steering wheel again and you're controlling it. And if you keep saying, I've got no patience, or I get angry, or I get wound up by certain situations, then those situations aren't going to stop until you learn the lessons and just go, okay. So in regards to my patience, I can't truthfully turn around to you and say I'm going to be a saint going forward, because I'm an irritable git at times. But what I can say is I'm becoming more and more aware of when I need to learn these lessons, because they are the blocks. So if somebody's winding me up, what is it that I need to get through? What lesson is it that I need to get past from this? Because as soon as you take away that stimulus and just go, right, it's not winding me up anymore, it's done. Because you're actually using your life's hours in that day to get wound up. Now, surely they could be used for something more productive. So my answers are quite simple these days with a stimulus that is winding up. If it's my responsibility to deal with whatever the situation is, I deal with it. If it isn't, answers no, I'm not getting involved. Respect, Brandon. Oh, bless. So, yeah, it's great. I say I get my words wrong, so I apologize if my words come out in the wrong way. But yeah, so when I get signs and signals, so I've spent a lot of time with people sort of saying to them, oh, I'm picking this up and I'm picking that up, but I want to tell the truth when I'm working spiritually. So I've got a little bit, because of that sort of autistic type of trait with me, where I say things and then afterwards go, oh God, there was no handbrake with this, and that didn't come out in the right way. So when I looked at that comment, the first thing was to validate what was said. And then I've just said to you, oh, that's great, I understand. Well, it's obviously not great that your dad John died of a stroke, because I've got that. But my mouth has moved on quickly with that. So what I'd say to people is, what is great is the fact that he's brought that information through for you, right? And this is how I get things. So imagine going into a radio station and you're stood there listening to what's going on the radio, and then I'm the DJ. I just give out whatever information's coming across that broadcast. Because there are people out here who will say, oh, I've got somebody stood next to me and he's saying this and she's saying that and doing the other. I don't get that. It's not like the film Ghost, where Patrick Swayze stood with his hand on my shoulders, rubbing my shoulders of tension and things like that, and helping me spin on the potter's wheel. Nah, right? There's things that just sort of shoot into my mindset, in my ear and out my mouth. So having to deal with this sort of, I don't know what you would call it. I'm going to call it neuro spicy because I'm not officially diagnosed, but I don't even have time to process all of the thoughts there. So I'm going to say thank you for allowing me to work with Dad's energy. Thank you for validating that. and I send out my healing thoughts to you, because my senses as I'm reading that comment is like this. I'm sat here. There's a little bit of nerves and anxiety as he comes through, but he's willing you. It's like, and this is weird because I get these little pictures in my mind. He's kissing your hands and just giving you that you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. And it's almost rhythmic. It's just keeping you calm and keeping your energy where it needs to be. Thank you. Right. And this is another little story there, Joy, if you're still on, because I say I'm not always keeping up with the comments. The waistcoats are picked for me by spirit, believe it or not. So the reason that I've got this one on today is I had a reading prior to coming on here and doing the live. And what came into my mind instantly, so I have an opening up procedure when I'm working with spirit, and I ask my guides, my inspirers, the angels to step close to me. And I imagine throwing a tennis ball out to the spirit world with the person's name on that I'm working with or working for. And as that comes back, it's got something on it that I read off it. So my feeling was that this person needed some, like a little bit of a push to do more for herself rather than keep giving away her time and her energy. So what better way of doing that than to be illustrated by the peacock? Because these are peacock feathers. And the peacock feathers, for me, if you look at a peacock when it's displaying and showing, it's showing its full range of colours. It's got the full spread on. So you're not in that dark spot. You're not in any sort of flat energy. You're doing what a lot of us do, that when crap comes at us, we have to get our head down and get on with it. So my senses is when I'm sort of like this and got this waistcoat on, like I'm showing my finities. So this is about being an extrovert, bringing out your energy, showing your true colours, and it's showing you as you want to be seen as. The green there is all about the heart chakra. And the sense was there that there was something emotional going on there. And I tend to feel a lot around the stomach as well when I'm dealing with people that have got emotional things going on around, as well as around the heart. So if you put the two together and look at the two energy chakras, we'll look at the around the stomach area is the sacral chakra, which is all about fuel room. It's where you put your energy into, what you're going to invest your energy into. And it's also the place where your intuition is. So there's something there, if we put the two together, that her heart may be not in and her intuition saying something different. So there's an imbalance. So we put the green in, and the green was light there because we're not putting our full heart and our full energy into ourselves. Now, the purple is always about the third eye and connecting in with spirit. So there's always things that I am gestured towards or pushed towards. A lot of the time it's communication, because as I've said before, I love talking. So so I'm not the only one. I'm like that bad penny. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, look at this though. See, this is one of the things. When I was younger, and probably even up to my prison service career, I'd have an incident, or I'd have something that had gone on. I'd have a conversation with people, and my brain and my mouth aren't always linked up. So what comes out of my mouth often comes out of my mouth without thinking. I just thought it was just because I was a bit uncouth, or that's how I was. I didn't give a shit. Now I've realised that there's a reason why that has happened. But what I used to do was I could do this process of what I call post-morteming. And post-morteming for me is you have the situation, you remember it as you remember it when you get home. So it's now become a memory, as to absolutely take that down to the smallest detail, that smallest piece, and then work out what I should have done, how I should have said it, how I've affected somebody, and then vow not to speak anymore because I upset people with my gob and things like that. And it's bloody hard work. So now, if I've said something, and I call it foot in mouth disease at times, if I've said something, I've no need to post-mortem it, because I've obviously meant to say it's been bottled up or it's come through from spirit and I need to get it out of my system. If somebody sort of comes and says, you know, I'm offended by that or I'm upset by that, I will listen. I will apologise if it's necessary. But I can guarantee you this 100% hand on heart. you're only just round the corner from my next hand grenade, because that's just what I'm like. I'm not sitting here with people when I'm working of saying I'm an expert on your lives, because that would be extremely arrogant and egotistical. But I trust my guides and inspirers when they're bringing something through. I might not be exactly knocking on the door, but I'm in the right area with it. So the response that you get from clients is, even if I'm not 100% right, they'll go, I've got an idea whereabouts he's getting at. And then it prompts a reaction. It prompts a thing, because the thing is, spirit are non-judgmental. So even if you don't take the necessary steps, they're not going to keep bugging you. They'll just bring another example, like I was saying earlier, or they'll bring in another messenger. And that's all I am. I am that conduit and that messenger. But honest and to the point, yeah. But I also like to entertain people as well, you know. My ambition when I was younger was to be a stand-up comedian and entertain on stage. So it's really, really funny that years down the line, after the very much eclectic career that I've had, if you caught the live when I did with Foxy the other night, I think I've had about 30 different jobs since I left school. It's ironic to me that it's come back to something that I used to dream about when I was about 7 or 8 years old, of getting up on stage, having the courage to make people laugh. Because I've always made people laugh by doing stupid things and saying stupid things and things like that. And now it means something. So you look at your life's experiences and think that even if they haven't worked out exactly how you wanted them to, for some reason you've been needing to learn that lesson. There is no box. I agree with that. The weather really affects your mood. Right. Now, if you'd have said that to me a while back, I'd have laughed. But having thought about a lot of my experiences when I was going to the doctors for antidepressants and all of the rest of that stuff, he told me that depression can be split down into very different things, you know. So you've got the PTSD aspect of it, where you've got experiences and traumas that have influenced that. You can have atmospheric depression, which is about everything that's sort of going on around you currently. You can have various different types of depression. Now, what I've discovered with my energy and things like that is I'm very sensitive to the cycles of the moon and the world's energies. Right now, if you'd have said that to me years ago, I'd have laughed at you. I thought I was some sort of divvy. But so if you're affected by the weather, I get like, I'm in my 50s now, so I get that barometer moment with me. You know, I've got my bad foot, I've got my cold knee. Oh, it's going to be cold tomorrow. So in that way, I'm influenced by the weather. But mood-wise, it doesn't seem to matter what it's like. If I get up and I've got the amp, as I say on EastEnders, then it can be hard work for me to shift it. So there's just sometimes now, and I think I've become more aware of it, where I'll say, right, I'm in the wrong frame of mind today, so that's not going to happen. Because it's like I was saying to somebody earlier on today, it's all right having that, right, I've got to do it and I've got to crack on, but is it worth cracking on with something when you're at a really low ebb with something? You're really flat out of energy, you're poorly, you're not feeling very well. Is the result worth the necessary effort that you're going to have to put into it? So sometimes it's not about procrastination, it's just about putting it into a space. It's on the back burner a little bit. The problem becomes is when we leave it on the back burner for a long time. So like I am dealing with a back injury at the moment. It's been there since 2005, maybe even earlier. And as they're doing the chiropractic things on there, there's a lot of stuff freeing up. But what it's also doing is it's getting my body to come out of that sort of stiffness phase. But I'm doing the gym, and I'm doing the gym probably about as much as I used to without doing legs. So I'm pushing a lot of weight. Now, I'm managing the weight all right, but the problem that I've got is being able to bend down and pick it up. So when my back has been playing up as badly as it has been, there's a fear now in my mind that when I bend down to pick up something, that I'm going to have that spasm. So I took the decision this week to come out of the gym and rest. What I've got to bear in mind to counterbalance that is that the last time I'd got an injury and I'd hurt my shoulder, and it was just a simple pinch, I got a pinched nerve, that week became 6 months. So I'm holding myself to account of just going, okay, this week I've got a genuine reason for why I don't feel that I would be physically capable of dealing with the gym. I've got enough on in my mindset with the amount of pain that I've been in. But I'm holding myself to account that either next week or the week after, depending on how long this rest period is, I need to get back doing what is helping my mental health and helping my strength and my development by getting back in that gym. And I will face up to it then. So stay tuned to see if it works. Unfortunately, I pick up on negative energy, makes me ill. My sense with that would be grounding and looking at your protection and pulling your guides and your inspirers closer. Be aware of the fact that you're picking up on negative energy. I don't work with it. I refuse to work with it. So somebody said to me, oh, you know, have you ever had attachments or anything like that? No, because I don't understand it. Because as far as I'm concerned, I 100% trust my guides and inspirers. I trust what I call my spidey senses, that if I'm around somebody that's going to be negative or bringing problems around me, I'll just remove myself from the situation. And I've even had to change the narrative around that, because I also realize it's not always that easy when it's friends, family, relations and things like that. But you can be aware of that. And imagine having mirrors around you, cotton wool, whatever it is, but you have to have yourself sort of guided and protected. I always ask spirit to guide, guard and protect me from any lower levels of spirit. And it's in the 8 years that I've been doing readings and things like that, that seems to have sufficed. And it's because I don't buy into it. I'm not saying it's not real or anything like that. It just doesn't affect me because I don't want it anywhere near me. And that was the deal I imagined signing with spirit. So that's what they've stuck to, and that's what I've stuck to. So I hope that makes a bit of sense. Took me a long time. Takes me a long time to get out of the system. Do you know, that's another thing as well, Joy. I'm looking at what I call the vortex. So you come to the end of what you know with something, and then you can see just over the road or just down the road that there's something new for you to look into, something for you to change, something to change direction in. But we're stuck in what we know, right? Whether it's been good, bad, or indifferent, we've got into that routine, we've got into that conditioning, we've got into that program. So we make a commitment to ourselves and we step into the vortex. Now, the vortex can be constructed of anything. It could be, you know, the strongest thing so that you can't get in or out. You're just in that moment there. But we've got to learn something new while we're in there, because we've got to find a way out of that vortex moment, because people will often defend what they know. So somebody says, right, here's the key to getting out of there and going down that totally different path. Oh, don't know whether I deserve it or not. Don't know whether I'm worthy. Mum's always said that I was not good enough to do that. And then you've got all of that to unpack before you make that next move and take that chance and move forward. So I have spent a lot of time over these last few months in that vortex moment, because I can sense that there's new directions to be discovered. But I'm in that spot where I'm having to deal with the shadow work, deal with what I call the mind sludge or the mind treacle, and take to pieces some long stored beliefs, some self-limiting beliefs, and realize that the conditioning that I've had throughout my life, not all of it's my fault. It's my response to what I've been shown. So this new route, this new pathway that I'm looking to go down, doesn't require me to take any of this emotional baggage with me anymore, because it's not needed. So I've learnt my lesson. So now that can be put down and I can move forward. So it's a difficult thing when you're used to things. But I'm not going to argue with this. I practically avoid people. Do you know, I have got to that stage myself. So if you imagine with me, I play this role, I play this character, where naturally when I've got nervous, I become this blubbering idiot, and I play this role, I play this character. So people will look at me. I've heard this many, many times before. I can't believe that you're not confident. I blag, right? Because when I feel uncomfortable around people, or I don't like their energy or anything, I play this role to dissuade them from looking at me too deeply. When you come back off stage, it's like people, when they've done something really, really extreme, that energy that you've put into being that caricature needs to come back and be placed wherever it needs to be placed, because you're back to being what you naturally are. And for me, believe it or not, it's an introvert. I find it increasingly difficult to look people in the eye. I'm struggling with my speech at times because my mind is clearing off before I've had a chance to finish my sentences, which has made me very self-conscious of the way that I'm delivering with people. I can zone in and out. So it's one of those where if I can, I tend to avoid people. But when I'm dealing with other people's energies, I'm fine because it switches on and that character comes out and we deal with it and I lift them. Because it's arrogant to sit here and say to you guys watching that I've got this superpower, but I have. I don't own it, but it's there to be used for the greater good of other people. So when that character needs to come out, and this is why the costume comes on, I step out and I play my role and then I come back again. But it's learning how to settle your own energy and be comfortable with what you are. So when I go out, you'll often see me, and I do a lot of the broadcasts with it as well, with my hoodie on. You know, it's my TISM hoodie where I can hide away in that energy. And if I can't do that with the hoodie, I'll have a hat on or I'll have a hood on of some sort to protect my energy. Because as soon as I step into somebody's energy, I can pretty much read them like a book. I can, really feel what's going on. And I don't always want to give my energy away to everybody. So this is why I avoid people. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Oh, I love cats. We've got 2. We did have 3, but unfortunately we lost one. And we've lost the chickens this week as well, the last 2 that we had. So we had a couple of, we had 3 chickens, rescued chickens, and unfortunately we've lost them all. So my son James has ADHD, so I have take time to listen to him and let him get things. Yeah, and do you know what? What I found with that, and this is what drives me with the work that I do, is to be that advocate for the people that may well slip through the net, because I'm not a qualified counsellor, but with my years of experience in the prison service, having dealt with anxiety and depression pretty much all my life, is I want to be that sort of support guide that just imagine a warrior that goes into those places where you go into the darker spots and you get a lot of people go, oh, I understand what you're going through. Well, unless you've actually experienced ADHD, the frustration of not being able to communicate your needs and wishes, the fact that your mind moves at 100 miles an hour, it never switches off, or you've got tics, you've got whatever it is that you've got about that, you don't understand. You can send out your empathy for that. And what that basically means with the empathy is that you're pleased it's not you. But I can tell you, having become very much aware of symptoms, because I keep saying symptoms because I don't feel like I'll ever get diagnosed because of the waiting list is huge. But the research that I've done on my own is detailed enough to lead me to believe that I'm on that spectrum. So I want to be that person that people can come to when I do my sessions, do my readings and things like that, where I do understand it. And a lot of my experience when I'm putting it out on here is because I've experienced it. It's not because I've read it from a book or I've trained in it. So I think sometimes it's just a great thing to have somebody there that will just listen without judgment. And it's a wonderful thing. I'm lucky in my house that I've got that. And I thank whatever it is, the stars, whatever, the angels, the guides, the gods, that I've got that. But it is incredibly difficult when it builds up inside you, and you've got nowhere productive to just let it go. So this is where I thank YouTube and Facebook and that, because you're allowed to. Hiya, Angela. Hope you're well. I hope we're sort of somewhere near keeping up, because my appalling timing again. Patience is a virtue. Yeah, I agree. Not very good at it, but I agree. Mouth work before brain engage. It does. It really does. Somebody somewhere is pulling it. Yeah, right. That's me. I get all of these things, and I've sat here, and this is the difficulty with doing this work, right? So I don't work full time. I do the work when the readings come in, and I do the shows and I do the stage work. At the minute, there's a bit of a lull. So there's a big chunk of space now where my thinky brain can get involved in it. But my thinky brain doesn't do structure. It just goes do. And by the time I'm in the middle of doing, my brain's moved on to something else. So it's like bringing yourself back and just going, right, what was I actually doing? So like things like that, I can resonate that 100%. And the other thing that's one of the things with me, and my missus still laughs at it, was I went to somebody and I asked them where the toilet was in this particular place that we was visiting. And I stood there and I heard everything they said. Right. The second that they walked away, it all gone. And my missus says, I stood there and watched her because she was like 3 floors up watching me down below looking for these toilets. I went in totally the opposite direction. She said, it just doesn't sink in with you, does it? And I can actually be in a place where I look you dead in the face and I've not heard a word you've said. And for me, that's frustrating, especially as a therapist, because some of the advice that I was given as working with clients the other day was that for a good counsellor to work effectively, you've got to have 80% non-communication and 20% of working around that person's energy. Well, I'll tell you here and now, if you come to me, you're never going to get 80% worth of quiet out of me, because I'm that enthusiastic to try and help you with whatever problem that you brought to me, that I'll spend no end of time giving you 33,000 different examples of how I could make that better for you. So it's a bit of it's trying to find that balance sometimes. And the biggest thing I found with this ADHD-tism thing is seeing it as something better than an obstruction or an anger or a frustration or stuff like that. So you get what you get with me. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's one that's been cultivated over the years. What I'm working on currently is to accept all of it. So whatever costume I put on, there's that part of me that's in there. But I've not managed that yet. So when I first started going on stage and things like that, the nerves, I'd be balking and retching, and I would be in such a state on there, and then pass on my energies to spirit because I knew that I'm working for them. But then when you start to realize that you're a big part of that as well, because spirit come and work with you at the level that you're ready to work at, and then they align their energies with you link in with whoever you're linking in with, and they'll link with whoever they need to bring through. So the process should be fairly smooth in passing on whatever needs to be. What I've not accepted over the years is that I'm a big component of that particular procedure. It's always been, oh, wow, having spirit up here and you as the client, thanks very much for giving me that chance, and then just like treating myself like shit. And I've just decided that that's where it needs to stop. Pisces with right, okay. Well, I'm Taurus with something or other. You can guarantee that it starts out with a really good idea and then I'll end up wrecking it and knocking it over. I said to somebody on stage, and it was another one of those moments where it came out of my mouth before I realised it. I'm like a puppy. Right? I'm a big, bald-headed puppy that you're going to get loads and loads of enthusiasm for this puppy, or it might get that excited it might piss on your shoes. Hopefully that'll never happen. I won't piss on somebody's shoes, but I am that excitable puppy. Oh dear. PTSD, yeah, been through all of that after the right of the prison service, but as I say, the more and more I look into that, the more and more I believe it was down to this ADHD and this inattentive and all of the rest of the stuff that comes in there. It is really, really frightening, actually. I find swimming helps me get right. Again, sharing probably a little bit too much with you, that swimming for me, I don't like swimming. I didn't learn to swim till I was 12. I passed all of my badges and then gave up on it because I just don't enjoy it. So I agree with you 100% because when you're swimming, it supports your whole body weight. So you're not hurting yourself, but I just can't bring myself to do it. It's just that the whole environment of being in changing rooms around people's noisy energy, people splashing you and like, no. Oh dear, awkward bugger, aren't I? I've been considered. Yeah, and I think it's worth it. Wow, well done. Congratulations, Pearl. Well done. Well done. Divine Empathetic Tarot. Right. Good evening, Divine Empathetic Tarot. I'm just having empathic, not empathetic. You're in your own. Yeah. Absolutely. 100%. But I'm genuine, sincere, and honest. And this is the reason why I keep saying this to people, is that what you see with me is what you get. I come on here, and even if you have a session with me, there will be things there that I might have on my mind, but I'll not let it affect your session. But you get this, and I'm always on your side. And this is when people come through, what do you think? Well, it's not about what I think. It's about supporting you to find your own realization. So I'm fighting at the moment because I've had a lot of people telling me that I'd be a good teacher. And I can't get my head around that word teacher. Guide, coach, support crew, background person, bang on. But teaching somebody, I've got this block in my head what says to people, the thing is that nobody can teach you to be you better than you can. Whereas a guide or a support can support you towards your own realizations. Until again, there was something thrown into my brain box the other day by somebody who'd observed me, who said, yes, but surely by talking to other people and explaining how you work, you're actually teaching people to look at themselves and see how they process stuff. And I went, yeah, okay. So is that not teaching then? And what is teaching done by? A teacher. So I'm kind of like working around with the energy around the word teacher at the moment. I don't know what will become of that, but that's whereabouts I am with that one. Perfect sense. Thank you. The black dog. Oh, honestly, the black dog over the years, from the ages of 15, and this is another reason why I am like I am. My ambition from the ages of 15 till about 17 or 18 was not to be here by that following weekend. Couple of attempts, but not serious. But I used to drink myself into oblivion from 16 to 18, probably a little bit further on from that, because I didn't like me. I didn't like my situation. Didn't know who to go to. Felt weird around people, and everything that I sort of built structure on and put trust on seemed to fall apart. And I just thought the world would be better off without me. I can tell you 100% from experience, having been at that very low ebb and being in that wrong place, there is always somebody there for you to talk to. Right? There is always somebody there where you can get that off your chest. There's always a reason for going on. And I looked at something I posted a few years back. Sometimes we have to dig a little deeper for that reason. And I look at it like we've written a script for our life. And when we're in these dark spots, we've written that so that we can look at that and get the thing dealt with. The quicker we get it dealt with, the quicker that we can get on with whatever it is that we're here, your life's purpose, the direction that you're supposed to be going in. The biggest thing for me is when people have sort of trivialized depression and things like that and going, no, I'll just snap out of it. Right. No, it's not as easy as that. But if your basic needs are being met and you're getting out of bed and you're facing up to the world and you're dealing with your shit, owning your shit, you're doing bloody brilliant. Right. So that's my take on it. And that's from a personal perspective of struggling with the black dog quite regularly, because my moods can go up and down, like I've said to you. So behind every good man is an even better. 100% tip my cap to Mrs. P. That I truthfully and honestly can say, if it wasn't for her, literally, I wouldn't be here. Now, she won't take compliments. She doesn't like that sort of thing. But I don't care about that sense of the thing, because I will always bull her up, because she's been there for nearly 32 years. So I agree with that 100%. My son, wow. And that gets him that sense. That's brilliant. I've never I've never had the courage to do anything like that. I did look at bungee jumping once, but we got there ready to do this bungee jump, and unfortunately, wrong weather or something had not happened, and I didn't do it. And then, like with a lot of things, if it's in that right moment of time to go and do something, I'd go do it, while I got that about me. But nah, I bottled it. Didn't go back a second time. So how do we book a reading? Let me just see if I can put something up there for that. Just bear with me. That's if I haven't deleted it all, because this is now me showing my ignorance here a little bit. There we go. Let's put them up there. Put that up for you. mediumrick007 at gmail.com, which is my email address. And we'll get back to those comments again. Let me see where. Every time I've had a reading for you, 100%. Yeah, and this is the thing about the superpower, and this is the bit that's took me ages to get my head round it, is that when I look at this, it's lovely when people say you're 100% spot on, right? It is nice, because if you're just feeling a little bit wobbly or anything, it's validation that you're on the right track and doing what you need to be doing. But remember, your part in it, you've made it happen. I'm given that wonderful energy of, and this is where I sat once in meditation for as long as I can manage it. And I said, well, what's the other part? When you don't reach somebody, or somebody's frustrated or anything like that, they said, you're a great healer. And the idea is that you heal with your voice, you heal with the words, you heal with the intent, you heal with the energy. So I'm contenting myself with that I will sit there with people for, whatever amount of time, and they're in that healing vibration, because that is the intent of where I've come from. So when I set up at shows and things like that, I can physically feel that force around the table, that some people have just come to speak, go away, and what they've come, the idea that they've come with, they've not gone away with, but they've somehow feel better. So I take that as an extreme compliment. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hi, wifey. Hope you're well. Anybody else want a reading? Because we're getting to the end of the comments, and I think I've covered all of the comments tonight, because we've only had a few in. I'm a bit surprised, because I thought we're linking Facebook in. I might get a few more from Facebook, but it's what it is. Like I said, it's about right and divine timing. I've got about half a brew left, so I'm about ready for a fresh one. And anybody else want a message or a reading or anything like Angela Bishop? It's a cup of tea. I'm using, I've got different decks here tonight. As I say, when I'm working with clients, and whether it's online or live, I use my Josephine Ellishaw tarot deck. I use Doreen Virtue Angel Oracle cards. And then we have a lovely lady that works on the shows and events around us. That is Stephanie King. And I spent an absolute fortune on this deck, because it came through from Spirit that I needed to get it. And it is called, if I can just show you the box there, the Fallen Angel Oracle cards. Now, the single cards as well. So it's, I'm not used to them, and I've not taken any time to look at the book. So if you imagine picking a word up, throwing the tennis ball out and catching it back, and then working with the energy. So, like, if anybody's seen me working with Annabelle at Fortune Cookies, because she's basically my hero when it comes to tarot, she's the one that I really draw to. She can put them round any subject. I'm not found that way of doing it. So mine is a generalized, it's going around an energy, and what comes back. So imagine that you're getting your parcel delivery. Somebody's going to come and park in that bay. They're going to come and chuck a parcel at you, and you've got to sign it and accept it and then interpret it. So that's how I work with it. So I've just pulled that card for you. And as I say, I've no knowledge of these. So partnerships, right? So I'm looking at partnerships for you. And I did, Angela. Now, this is not to put any panic with you, right? Because this, for me, as I'm bringing in a gentleman's energy that is showing me as he stood there, he's got quite thick set glasses on, kind of like this, peering down at things and having a good look round, weighing things up. So my sense is that something going on around you where you've got a decision to make. And when I look at partnerships, my mind is immediately drawn to the Two of Wands in the tarot deck. Now, the Two of Wands is all about making a decision about which pathway you're going to go down. It talks about partnerships. It talks about where your passion is. It talks about building on foundation. So you would have been in a place where you've got something that's got a bit of a grounding to it. It's got a bit of an idea with something. Now we've got to start strengthening it. Now we've got to make our decision whereabouts we want to go with it, what floors we want to put in. You're not quite at the stage where you're going to turn up and tit around with fabric and put all of the pretty stuff in. So we've still got the stuff to get out of the ground. So my sense is with you're coming up to an important decision over these next 6 weeks, right? Take some time out of the what I would call the flapping sort of energy, where it's like, oh my God, pressure, and just sit there and go, take some deep breaths, right? Bring the energy, bring the volume down, and just go, right, what do I want to achieve as a result of my considerations and of my thoughts? What is it that I want to align myself with? So my feelings with this is the angels and the gentleman's energy has got your back, whatever you decide. But pick what gives you the best uplifting feeling. Don't keep settling for stuff that doesn't suit you. So there's a move on the cards with something. So don't focus on a direction that you've no intention of going down or that doesn't give you the upliftment. Align yourself towards your best and highest and greatest good. Okay, so that's what I picked up off that one, and that's very abstract, right? And that's what I'm giving you. Okay, so right, there we go. Life of a Grumpy Old Marine. Here we go. Yeah, thank you, because you're a mod on my channel and because you support me so well. Right, I've just sort of directed to this. I'm going to pull one card out, and I've got the Page of Swords. Right. So I know you read a bit of cards and you do your energies yourself. Right. Now, I never talk about how another person teaches tarot, because for me, it's like with my NLP, the analytical hypnotherapy, everything that I do is a tool to be used to, like a key to open the door for something. So people will learn the tarot in a different way. I've spent many hours and many different decks and learning different things. And then towards the end of all of that sort of thing, with learning other people's ways, I thought, I can't remember half of it. So what I do is I sit with it and I go, so I've got the framework, I've got the basic structure, and then just give what I feel off the card. So the word that's coming around you with this, the Page of Swords. So pages for me are messengers. They bring news. They bring awareness to something. Swords are your mind, your intellect, and how you think. Blue is communication. And this, for me, as I feel the energy, is somebody around you that's a bit of a shit stirrer, a bit of a bitch, a bit of a problem child, as we used to call them in the prison service. Right. And there's sometimes that it's all right going, oh, I'm okay with it all. You know, when something bad's happened, oh, yeah, it's all right, it's done with. You might need that moment in private to just process that and get past that emotional feeling with it. So my senses with you is like leveling up. We talked about partnerships and picking a pathway here. This is kind of like my sense with this one is picking yourself up, right? And just like dusting yourself off and just... I'm feeling, sensing irritation around it, so I need to communicate my needs and wishes. And I'm looking around who I'm supported by, who's on my side, who's going to give me the best upliftment that I can get. And then I'm looking at setting myself a deadline, because once I've looked at something, decided that I'm pissed off, I don't want to be pissed off about it for long. I want an answer. So there's something there where my senses around you. You need to communicate your needs and wishes. Get past, not get over, get past whatever the disappointment is, whatever the bitching or the backbiting or the infighting has been, and then find a place to move forward. Right, so that door slamming in the background was Mrs. P. So we're nearly at cup of tea stage. So yeah, Fortune Cookies by Annabelle. Well, welcome, Margaret. Thank you very much. Sam, message me when you find time. Yeah, okay. I just want to let know. Right, okay. Yeah, I'll keep out of that one. It's all right, I promise. I forgot to put milk in my tea. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. No, can't cope with that. The tea's ready. It will be in a minute. Mrs. P's just come in. So, yes, we will be having a brew. But she doesn't need milk because she has fruit tea. Just see what I feel. Okay, yeah, absolutely. I know who you was talking about. That's great. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. It's just sitting here with the energy of the cards and not getting flustered by it. So anybody who wants to do this and get on and do readings and messages for people, just come on with a good intent, right? Not an expert, not a brilliant anything this, not a guru or looking to impress people. I'm on here because I want to generate some upliftment. I want to generate some business. I sell my truth. I'm doing my level best at the minute to learn better how to do videos and productions and things like that, because there's so much going through my head that I think could benefit people if they get into that way of thinking. But this is part and parcel of the work that I do with people, because you've got to build a rapport with that person to find out how they process that information. So readings are always based on tarot. And spirit, for me, the universe, whatever you want to believe in, bring in their guest stars and I'll pass that on. I will never, ever guarantee that somebody I'm going to give them 100% mediumship reading, because I don't know. Like, I truthfully don't know. The hour sessions that I advertise, the coaching is all about, so you've got NLP based in it, neuro-linguistic programming, elements of analytical hypnotherapy, both of which that I've studied, 52 years of life experience, and what my neuro spicy head always throws in, the fact that most neurotypical people will think in straight lines, right? Neurodiverse people think in curves and going all over the place. I put a post on this morning that my point is there, how I get to there is there. So when you tell me your story, and then I can find out what it is that you're looking for, I may well get the solution for you or help support you while you find that solution. But I've got to find out the way that you process. So when people come to me and go, can you coach? Yeah, I can coach. Can you teach? Yeah, I can teach, but I need to know that you as the pupil are getting the best value for money, because you're investing your time and your life hours in me to bring something through. So I need to know what it is, what your expectation level is, and then I can structure it accordingly. Anyway, I'm going on a little bit here, but I just thought I'd show that. And I am going to get to that point there. If I just, please tell me if I've missed anybody who's still on, because I'm showing up as I've got 6 people on. If there's anybody there that I've missed, please let me know. If not, I'm just going to say thank you very much for turning up and supporting me. And I will catch you on the next one. I'm just just holding out on that thing. So before I go, I'm going to prescribe you an exercise program. Right? Don't flap, because you watch the numbers just go. Don't flap. So the exercise program, right, is I want you to practice this and let me know how you get on with it. All right, it can either be like that way, or it can be both hands, or it can be that way on. And I want you to remember this every morning when you wake up. Right, and every morning when you wake up, if you can feel like this is the treatment room, but it does have a bed in here, that you can feel the texture of the wall, your own bedclothes. If you're lucky enough to have your partner next to you, you can sense the energy of them breathing next to you. Do you know what? You haven't got any problems, because what life's given you is that opportunity to change what you didn't do yesterday. So I took that thought a little bit deeper. I thought, well, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So if I'm alive, at least I've got the opportunity to make some changes. But being the antagonist that I am, I thought, Yeah. So what happens one morning when you turn over and you wake up and you've got wood and soil above you? Then you've got a big problem, haven't you? Well, if you think about that, you haven't really got any problems either, because you're not here. You're done. You're finished. So remember your exercise program as you go into this week, and just remember that you've got no problems that you, with all of your experience, can't solve. And if they're not solvable, maybe it's not for you to solve. Maybe it's time to move on and move somewhere and do something different. So stay tuned. Have a good week. And I'm not going to make any promises as to when I'm going to come back on. But thanks very much for watching me. I really appreciate it. All right. Take care. Bye.